So 2021 was a year of some huge releases, but things unfortunately didn't go to plan for all of them. Sup guys, Kai here, and in this video we're going to talk about 10 games that got delayed in 2021. At 10, we have the super random Lord of the Rings Gollum game. It was announced all the way back in 2019, and focuses on the untold story of Gollum, from his time as a slave below the Dark Tower to his stay with the elves of Mirkwood. The game features no combat actually, besides the ability for some stealth takedowns, and has heavy emphasis on platforming, such as climbing, leaping, and grappling. I honestly forgot this game existed, but the good news is with the delay announcement is that developer Daedalic Entertainment is partnering with Nacon, ensuring the game will be fully represented for Lord of the Rings fans by now acquiring the adaptation rights to the series. Fans should be able to get their hands on the game sometime in late 2022. At number 9 is the all-mysterious Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. A game ridden with issues, and one I don't think we'll ever see for a long time, if ever. The Vampire RPG has gone through countless problems since announced. Hardsuit Labs fired their lead narrative designer and creative director in 2020, which already had fans worried about the game. Earlier this year, Hardsuit Labs had to lay off multiple employees, and guess what? Most of them were from the narrative team. So I don't know how they plan on making a good game. An RPG needs an excellent story, and well, they actually have 0 people working on it, it looks like. This is probably the nail in the coffin for this game, at least in my opinion. It was one I was really looking forward to. A good supernatural game is hard to come by these days. As of right now, Vampire the Masquerade 2 has no release date and is indefinitely delayed until further notice. At 8, we have the infamous Skull and Bones game, the competition to Sea of Thieves, like 4 years ago. Technically, it wasn't even supposed to be out in 2021, but it did get delayed again this year to sometime in 2022 to 2023. Recently, there was actually some details leaked with the new direction Ubisoft Singapore wanted to go for the game, and I'm not quite sure if they're actually any good. I know the game wanted to take AC Black Flag naval combat to the next level, but in Skull and Bones, according to these leaks, players can only do naval combat, and there actually won't be any land combat at all. I'm actually not sure how I feel about that. Also, players start with a raft, and then they have to do jobs to earn coin, and collect all the resources to create their boats. Hopefully, that isn't a huge grind, but I kind of feel like it's going to be. Skull and Bones is a game that is definitely going to get delayed again, or more likely, never come out at this point. Coming in at 7 is going to be Sifu, the martial arts movie-inspired game that looks super awesome and smooth. The pandemic actually created issues for the developers here, which is why it was delayed until early 2022. On the bright side, there was new footage of the game recently showed, which showed off its close quarters combat and the aging process. Now, the aging process does seem super random, but in the game, when the player gets defeated by an enemy, their hero will actually become more powerful. And maybe this is why in the movies, the oldest person is always the strongest. Sifu does look great though, and I'm sure the fans will appreciate it when it's out in early 2022. The PS5 exclusive Ghostwire Tokyo is next on the list. The Evil Within developers decided it was best for their employees to delay the game to protect them and deliver the game they have envisioned. I see this as a we don't want what happened with Cyberpunk to happen to us scenario. The horror, not horror game where 99% of Tokyo has mysteriously vanished is a big launch title for the PS5, and they want to make sure their game reaches their standard. And I do respect that. If Ghostwire Tokyo is one of the games you're keeping up on, keep your eyes out in the next coming months. The studio recently said they're going to be releasing more info along the way until the release. 5 is not necessarily a game, but it's DLC for Cyberpunk 2077. Now, Cyberpunk was the king of delays, and well, it still didn't work out. Most definitely didn't work out. CDPR is still dealing with a catastrophe that has happened to them, and they haven't seemed to recover from the end of 2020. Some question why they haven't given up on the game entirely, and I really think CDPR are going to figuratively die on the mountain trying to fix this game. They aren't doing a great job of sticking to their, lacking roadmap, so the DLC will be out by the end of this year, but I bet it will be 2022. These updates are supposedly for the most powerful fixes, like poorly optimized PS4 and Xbox One versions. Maybe by the time they fix it, everyone will have a PS5 or a Series X, or a PS6, and whatever the next Xbox is. Everyone was anticipating Horizon Forbidden West this year, but the devs broke our hearts with a delay until 2022. The delay comes in part from the fact that the devs were uncertain of acquiring the motion capture equipment and the actors during the pandemic, which is very understandable, so I get it. Forbidden West will take Aloy to the Forbidden West, where she will brave a new world and attempt to save humanity from another extinction. It's a gigantic release for the PlayStation. Hopefully it does not get delayed again if the studio does have more issues getting the equipment they need. If not, get ready to jump in next February. In third place, we have Gotham Knights, the DC game which doesn't take place after Arkham Knight, but still kinda does. Was set to release sometime this year in 2021, but the pandemic sadly had other ideas and Warner Bros. Had to delay the game until 2022. This highly anticipated DC game features 4 playable characters: Batgirl, Robin, Red Hood, and Nightwing, in an open world Gotham where Batman mysteriously dies, and these 4 step up to continue his work. It looks insanely awesome, and I hope with the extra time they can iron out more of the bugs since the map is supposed to be huge. There is no set date as of this video, so keep your eyes open for more news in the coming months. Another Warner Bros. Games comes in at number 2 actually, and that's Hogwarts Legacy. The Harry Potter single-player RPG was slated to release this holiday season, and was announced in January that it would be delayed until 2022. I'm not sure if it's from the pandemic related, but it seems the game just needed more time to develop. With Cyberpunk coming off its fresh disastrous run at this time, Warner Bros. Must have looked at their game and said, yeah, we want none of that. And they took the advantage of angry gamers at CDPR to say they were delaying their game without worry of them lashing back. I love the Harry Potter universe, and I really want a good RPG in this universe. Players will be able to create their own witch or wizard and step into Hogwarts and begin their wizarding ways. The game is set in the 1800s, so not sure if any known characters will make an appearance. And the story is that players are actually uncovering a hidden truth of the wizarding world. It sounds epic, and I hope they can pull it off right. And number 1 is a huge one. It is the parkour zombie killing Dying Light 2. Another game that has been ridden with delays. It was announced all the way back in 2018. Only to be delayed again and again, with the newest release date to be February 2022. Techland said this is due to the fact that the game was just not ready yet, and wasn't up to par where they wanted to be. I thought it could have been from the pandemic this time around, but it just looks like the devs are really taking their time. Dying Light 2 looks to expand upon the first game in huge ways. More zombies, more parkour, more combat, and the living cities on the huge map. It's a game players have been waiting for years at this point, and it looks like they'll need to wait just a couple more months for it. 2021 was looking pretty stacked for gamers. I'm sad a lot of these didn't come out, but at least next year will be awesome, if they actually meet their release date. Hitting that like button really helps the channel out, and subbing wouldn't hurt if you love content like this. And speaking of enjoying this content, watch this video here for more.